Hey, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and this is your first time tuning in, my name is Yudi. This channel is It's a Wrap. I do book reviews on mainly Black centered stories and Black authors across the diaspora. Let me also preface it by saying that. And if you're interested in that, subscribe, join the fam, join the conversation. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, I did not originally plan to review this book, but I feel like this would be there's so much that I have to say about this book. So I had to sit down and speak with you guys. And if you already know from the book title, I am reviewing A Spell of Good Things by Ayobami Adebayo. And I'll put it down in the description. But I did review her debut novel, Stay With Me. And this is her sophomore novel. And this was also in my anticipated read. So once it came out, I was like the first person at the library, like, baby, bring it all my way. This book, I'm going to give the best summary I can without spoiling it because I feel like there's so much going on in this book. It is told from two points of view. This is a story that follows Eniola and Ruaola. Eniola is this young teenage boy whose father has lost his job as a teacher, and the family's going through a very, very rough patch and are very much financially struggling and have dropped from middle class status to lower class status. While we follow Ruaola, who is in medical school and comes from a family that is much more well-to-do, I would say high class, high middle class, is that the word? Is when you're a step above, just a step above middle class. And her father is works or is in politics, and her family is just well connected and well to do. And we followed these two stories, and one event connects them, which I'm not going to spoil. But Ruala is going through her own struggles in terms of her relationship with her significant other, Kunle, and that whole situation. That situation. And then Eniola is, his family's really financially struggling, and he's trying to stay in school. He's really trying to grasp the fact that his family is not at the social status that they used to be at. And now he's struggling to even find a meal at night and struggling to pay rent to just survive. Honestly, it's divvied up into 4 parts. It's not until part 3 that the book actually picks up, and part 3 is like more than halfway into the book. So more than 50% into the book is when you really, because the whole time you're just telling these two stories and you're kind of like, what connects these two people together? And it's not really until part 3 that you start to get an idea of what exactly brings these two into each other's lives, if at all. Do you know what it really reminds me of? If you guys, sorry y'all, putting on my Spanish major hat, if you are in, to Latin movies, there's this movie from the 2000s, Amores Perros. And it's like that. It's actually, Amores Perros is also kind of like, what's the movie with Sandra Bullock? Speed. Is it Speed? The one on the bus or whatever? That is these different stories, and there's just one event that, even though they don't intimately get to know each other, there's one event that they were all present for, that they're all deeply affected by. That's very much A Spell of Good Things. That's very much this story. I think it worked. But you have to stick through it the whole way for it to really work for you. Because I almost dropped this book. I'm not gonna lie. It was very slow in the beginning. But you need all the stuff in the beginning so you can really be in it with these characters and understand how the pieces fall where they fall. But yeah, it is a very much a slow girl. You know what, I'm gonna let y'all know, I love a good slow burn. I love some character development. I love, really becoming invested and really scoping the scene and really getting a feel of everything. And A Spell of Good Things was definitely that. And so when we get to the So if you don't like a slow burn, if you're like, okay, so where are we going? Because I was reading this like, okay, this is gonna go somewhere, but where are we going? And you're gonna be like that for a minute, but still, it's so good. One thing I appreciate about Ayobami Adebayo, I don't think, because sometimes you read books. There's some books I'm looking back here, and I feel that way. Sometimes you read books, especially when it's not like dominant Western culture. You feel like it's pandering or catering or writing to an audience that's not of the audience that the world of the book is set in. And I never feel that way about, or I haven't felt that way about Stay With Me or this particular book. I feel like it's telling a story, but not try to cater to a certain gaze. And in that, it takes away from the authenticity, the realness of the story. Eniola and all these characters, they pretty much do what they have to do. You know what I'm saying? In order to survive. And it all kind of points back to the way that the system has failed them. Like, wow. um it's especially Eniola's story, because at one point Eniola's father was doing okay. They did have a home. They, could afford his schooling and everything like that. But also, to preface that, his father works for pretty much the government because he works for a school. And like the second that he loses his job, like just the hardship in order to get back and to be reemployed yet again, and how there's really nothing to help him. There's really nothing to keep this family afloat. Like, woo, they're really out of luck. You know what I'm saying? And you're just like, wow, like the fact that he's so hungry, and like, can you imagine, like, for y'all, in the book, like, the family eats gari. Yeah, can you imagine having that, like, gari every day, you know? They said we ain't had almonds, it was just plain gari. Like, like, what? Like, yeah. um and I was just like, wow, like, they paid tuition and everything for a private school. They don't got lunch. There was no lunch. That was my question. I don't mind me, for my dear Nigerians. Y'all don't get lunch at school. Y'all don't get, like, the system does not cover you for a meal. Um, and the fact that it was like, wow, the public schools are trash. Like, there's no way that you would be ever be able to get into college or anything through the public schooling. That these, like, public systems, that there is no public system in place for someone like an Eniola, to make sure that they still are able to function and contribute within society. It was sad. Um, and that, that the politicians are, like, using the like, these young boys who are kind of desperate for their basic needs to be met, that they're using them in this way, is, to me was, like, deplorable. And Ruhaola, I felt bad for her as a woman, that, she wants to, like, see things, and she wants to advance in her career. And she feels like she can't. um she feels like she can't live her life without the judgment or the eyes of others. So she suffers. And I just don't, it was the suffering. So many people suffered, and the men were just no good. The men were no good, except for Eniola. I was like, but Eniola's not a man. He is a boy. He is a boy. And again, the men have failed him. He's a boy, and I just wish somebody would have looked out for this man. And it's the fact that, like, he's not even, I don't even think he was 20 by the end of the book, and he was so broken. He was already so broken, and felt like he deserved these terrible things that happened to him, when he really didn't deserve it. It's just the system had really failed him, and because the system had failed him, he was pushed into a corner to make decisions that were there for hurt other people. And I just felt so bad. Yeah, this book was so good. I was satisfied with the ending. I was satisfied with the ending. I think the last half actually really saved the first half of this book, or it made the first half make sense. I don't even say saved. It made the first half make sense. But because I felt like the first half dragged. I can't give it a 5. It has to be like a 4 for me. A solid 4. A solid 4 that I'm thinking about a 5. type feeling, but I can't give it like a 4.5. I feel like that the beginning is just so so. Mm. That's all I have to say. There's a gift in touching on all these themes. The way that she lets these characters breathe and live, let the themes and the stories kind of tell themselves. If it's a slice of life, it's perfect, it's beautiful. This book is beautiful. It's sad, but it's beautiful, and it's real. Ayobami Adebayo did that, and she's another person in my list of people who can really tell and communicate and convey a story very poetically and beautifully for me. Again, let me know if you read this book. Let's continue our conversations in the comments. And until next time, guys, deuces.